Hi, I'm Chike Coleman, and we're back again with another edition of Real Review Cinematic Underground. As usual, I'm sitting across from Chuck Koplinski, and we're going to talk about what we watched this week.
Why are you smiling? Why are you so happy?
I'm happy because I saw a really great movie this week, and a really crappy movie this week.
But crappy movies make you happy?
Yes, yes. It's writing material for the ages. I can pop out like 700 words on one film if I really, really hate it.
Yep.
But tell me what you watched this week first.
I watched so much since our last show. I can't even. It's a mishmash.
Okay.
So I'm just going to follow your lead. What do you want to talk about? I've probably seen it if you want to talk about it.
Yeah. Let's start with the one I hated the most.
Okay.
The Expendables 2.
Okay.
Oh my God. I can't believe I sat through that drudgery for, what was it, an hour 40 minutes that felt like 2.5 hours?
Yeah, it was about an hour and 40 minutes, yeah. An hour and 50, I think.
There's just so much wrong. The movie was directed by Simon West, who we all know from Con Air.
Which is a good movie.
I
mean, for an escapist, silly action film, it's quite good.
It's a good movie, and it's probably one of Nick Cage's better action movies that he's done in the last 2 decades.
I would agree.
But Simon West here, I believe, was a bit ill-used. It was almost like you were using a Sylvester Stallone clone than using, Simon West, who really knows how to shoot action well.
Well, here's my question, and I didn't do the research because I was watching so much. What has he done since Con Air? I mean, it seems as though he kind of fell off the map. I'm going to get on the Google web while you talk and try to figure this out.
Well, the plot for
you're right, it didn't seem like the same filmmaker.
Yeah. The plot for The Expendables 2 is pretty simple. It's the fact that these mercenaries that you've seen from The Expendables go in, and they're trying to get this computer, and on this computer is a blueprint of a mine that stores plutonium. And Jean-Claude Van Damme plays a guy named Villan, and he wants to take that plutonium and sell it to other neighboring enemy countries, and that's the plot of the film. That's essentially it. And all your favorites from the first film are back: Stallone, Statham. Okay.
I mean, one of the disappointments of the film is that Jet Li drops out right away.
Yeah, immediately.
He's got gone. One sequence.
He's got one fight scene, and that's it.
And he's out.
Jet Li is in it, but it's only for like 5 seconds, and I hope to God he did not get paid $1 million or more for that.
I hope not either.
Because that's a waste of his talent, a waste of his time, that he didn't get some form of a storyline. So you have those three. You have Schwarzenegger coming in. You've got Willis. You've got Chuck Norris, and you've got Jean-Claude Van Damme, and Ronnie Couture, and Terry Crews. Did I miss anyone?
I missed the new kid.
Oh, and the new kid.
Who is really the catalyst of the film.
Yeah.
Thor's younger brother.
Yeah, Liam Hemsworth.
No, is it Liam or Chris?
Ooh, that's
I think it's Chris. Liam is Thor. No, you're right. You're right. You're right.
It was Liam.
Yeah, well, they're interchangeable. They're big, dumb hunks.
They really are. Yeah. They look pretty much alike. And the thing for me about The Expendables 2, the thing that I hated about it was overly cliche. I can appreciate you doing a wink and a nod every once in a while in a film, but if you do it all across the film incessantly without, stopping for breath, I swear I heard every famous filmography line from at least one actor in every scene of the film. There had to be one little, oh, look at what we are, or look at what that was. Wasn't that a great movie?
Well, you expect that. You expect a certain degree of it, but it seemed...
But it was overkill here.
Yeah, I agree.
Really distinctive overkill.
Arnold can say, I'll be back once, but when you're doing it twice, you're going to the well too often.
Exactly.
You know what's interesting about the movie is that, and I'm looking at Simon West here, filmography, The General's Daughter, John Travolta.
Right.
Lara Croft, Tomb Raider.
Ooh, he did that.
Did a bunch of TV. The Mechanic.
I
with
saw that.
Jason Statham.
Didn't hate that film.
Stolen, a new Nicolas Cage film that's coming out later this year. And The Expendables 2. So a lot of TV and a lot of subpar stuff. What's interesting? I mean, an action film needs to build.
Yeah, it really needs to build. There was no build here. There was just constant payoff.
Yeah, that was the problem.
And that was what made it boring and unattractive to me. There was a scene in particular where I gave up on the film. And I realized that the scene was going to be the moment that I was going to use for the beginning of my review. When Stallone and his group they're firing at one lone soldier left, and after the guy goes down after being shot multiple times with multiple guns from these expendable characters, Stallone quietly and resonantly says, "Rest in pieces." And I was just like, that's exactly what I want this franchise to do. Rest in pieces. Because you're not reinventing the action genre, you're tearing it apart.
Mm-hmm.
You're not making it better, you're not making it smarter, it's not more clever. You're destroying what was good about the action genre with this film. The one character that I thought was solidly done in this film was actually, well, actually, no, I take that back considering what I know now. I was going to say Chuck Norris, but then I realized he came back a second time during that film, and I was just like, nope.
The only good thing about the film was Van Damme. He needs to play more bad guys.
Yeah, he was really good as a bad guy.
He was very good. His presence, they all have presence obviously, but his made the most impact. And I felt that he was enjoying himself more than anyone.
He was. He was like a kid in a toy
everyone
store,
else
really.
seemed tired.
Yeah, tired.
They were just kind of slogging through it. He was having fun. So he needs to do bad guys more often in other films. I thought he was good.
I would agree. He was quite good in that film. He was the only bright spot for me because I didn't like Liam Hemsworth, surprisingly. I thought his Good Soldier was very dry, very, very basic. Well, extremely basic.
But what are you going to do? I mean, the kid, it's what, his 7th movie or whatever, and he's with all these veterans? I mean, he's only going to be able to do so much.
Yeah, I actually expected him to be around for the entire film, because I heard in the original script they were planning on killing off Mickey Rourke's character, but Mickey Rourke didn't want to sign on, and so I guess that's why they added Liam. I overall really didn't like the film. I only gave it 2 stars in my review. Did you?
I didn't like it either.
What would you have given it?
I gave it a star and a half.
Okay.
It makes, I've never bought into this whole notion that violent movies contribute to violent acts. I mean, and I know that's back in the news since the tragedy in Colorado, but when you see a film like The Expendables 2, it really makes it hard to defend that line of thinking.
I agree.
And
I agree completely.
I'm starting to, maybe I'm on the fence on that now, because it did serve no purpose, and the violence itself was far too graphic than it needed to be.
I agree.
And that was my biggest problem with the film.
Yeah. So then the next film I saw, because I'm going in reverse order here.
Okay.
The next film I saw was The Campaign.
Okay.
And we spoke about this film earlier.
Yeah, you're wrong about it, by the way.
Yeah,
completely.
I figured.
But go ahead.
Yeah. I figured you were going to say that. The Campaign stars Will Ferrell, Zach Galifianakis, and is directed by Jay Roach, who is famous for making the Austin Powers franchise.
Also, let's point out, after that, he has also done some rather political films. For HBO, he did...
Yes, he did.
He did Recount.
Yes.
And he also just did the that thing that they did on Sarah Palin.
Oh, yeah.
Those were his too. So The Campaign kind of is combining these recent political films as well as the comedies that he's done. Interesting combination.
Yeah, interesting
the way
combination.
his career has gone.
I didn't like Will Ferrell in the film because it's what he plays every time. Zach Galifianakis,
That's not a valid complaint, by the way.
I understand that, but I feel like he mixed George Bush with Bill Clinton and tried to, make the two have a marriage or a baby of some sort.
But that's what he is supposed to do. He is supposed to represent the buffoonish, irresponsible politician that we are stuck with.
I thought he got shown up a bit by Zach Galifianakis.
He was great. Yeah, I thought he was quite good.
He was really earnest, and even though he was funny and goofy, you could still really see the heart of him as a character. I enjoyed that. Now, we talked about this before, but there's one point specifically in the movie that turned me off, and that was when the maid came on screen for the first time. Now, for those of you who've not seen the film, which is perceivably everyone in this audience, I want to say this. There's a scene where I believe it's Cam Brady. No, actually it's Marty Huggins, Zach Galifianakis' character, coming to his father's door. He knocks on the door, and you hear this voice. And it's basically this 1800s maid, like slavery times.
It's a mammy voice.
The mammy character, the mammy voice from slavery times.
Because they live in the South.
Because they live in the South. They live in North Carolina, is that correct?
Yeah.
And you're thinking to yourself, is this really possible? Does slavery still exist in this new millennium? And then the door opens and it's an Asian lady. And at that point my brain went from, wait, that's a very, very clever, instinctively funny thing, to I'm really super offended right now, and I don't know how to control myself.
Why would you be offended?
Because that's an offense to African American people. To have that mammy character displayed in any way, shape, or form. I know that it exists on product placement like Uncle Ben and Aunt Jemima, and I don't see that that is a good thing either, but the blatant usage of that tonnage and that idea just felt really, really wrong to me, and I can't...
But in the way they use it in the film, they're pointing out how behind the times and out of touch the rich and the Southern people are. The film isn't condoning it in any way, shape, or form.
I know that.
They're saying, hey, this mindset still exists. Look how ridiculous it is. That's the whole point of being there.
If you look at it in that mindset, it works, but it's still... I don't know. I grew up when I was younger, when I was about 12 or 13, I watched the movie Roots, and that forever changed what I thought about, you know, the idea of slavery and all, just everything involving servitude. Mm-hmm. And the idea that that this actress would call back to that time, even to say, look how ridiculous it is, felt really wrong to me.
Well, you said, does slavery still exist in this times? And I think that was another thing that they were pointing out by using the stereotype. It does.
I agree.
In a sense, it does. It was interesting. I saw a movie yesterday called Hit and Run.
Yes.
And a young lady said, I worked 3 jobs to save all this money. And the guy says, oh, the American dream. She said, the American dream. And he says, yes, these days it is. We're all slaves.
Yeah.
For, you know, this whole 99%, 1% thing. There's a reason for that. You cannot get ahead. In a sense, it still exists. That's why that moment is in the movie.
Yeah.
To show just how ridiculous it is.
Yeah. I mean, I liked the way that Marty Huggins and Cam Brady interacted. Their interactions were funny. And I thought, you know what I thought was really clever about Jay Roach's directing, and I guess his sense of direction? He used a joke twice.
And it worked both times.
It worked both times to hysterical effect. Now, if you haven't seen the trailer for the campaign, one of the main things that they show you in the trailer is this moment where Cam Brady and Marty Huggins, the 2 opponents for the Republican seat in Congress, are fighting to get to a baby, and Cam Brady, is about to punch Marty Huggins to get to the baby in time. And Marty dodges the punch, and the punch instead lands in the face of the baby. And first time you see that in the trailer, it's funny. When you see it in the movie, it's funny. But then
something else happens.
Joke is repeated again, not with a baby, with another thing.
Another very vulnerable, cute thing.
Another very vulnerable, cute thing. And you're thinking to yourself, wait, I already saw this. It's not going to be funny. And then they reveal something specific about that thing that makes you care, that makes you want to laugh and feel pity for the thing. And I'm not going to tell you what it is, but if you've seen the Academy Awards and you know who won Best Picture last year, you're going to laugh really, really hard when you get to that moment in the film.
I thought it was very, very smart. Very
incredibly
funny.
Smart.
I laughed more than I have at any other film this year. I didn't think I was going to find a movie more funny than 21 Jump Street, but this is it.
Okay.
The one scene in which Marty asks his kids and his wife to tell him any secrets that they have because the press is going to find out about them.
Yes.
My God, he finds out way too much. His son is 10, his other son is about 7, and the things that he tells them are a nightmare. And I'm sure I missed some of them because I laughed so hard and everyone else was laughing. I'm sure I missed a few things because it's one of those moments where you're missing the next few lines.
I bet I did too. There is a joke involving the Price is Right at that.
Oh God, yeah, that's
at
even
that
worse.
dinner table scene that I will not spoil for you, but you will never want to watch The Price is Right the same way again. It's not possible. No. you're just scarred for life after that. It was a clever film. I gave it 3 stars. I liked it okay, except for that really in my mind, offensive scene that I mentioned earlier.
Yeah, you did.
The next film that I saw was Headhunters. And I don't know how to say its actual legal...
Go with Headhunters.
Okay. Headhunters. And let's see if I can remember all the characters. There's a guy named Roger Brown. He has a very attractive wife.
Taller than him.
Who looks a lot like a younger Kim Basinger from the 80s, in my mind. And he has a very successful business. Nobody really knows what he... Can you explain what he does?
He's a headhunter, yeah.
Well, he's a hunter for... What does the company do? That's something I never got.
Well, that's in fact what the company is. He is hired by other companies to find highly qualified people for positions that they have open. And the company that he has been hired by at the beginning of the film is trying to find someone who can work. They're introducing a new product, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
I've seen this maybe 6 months ago.
Yeah.
And it has to do with tracking.
Yeah.
So he's just trying to find, his job is to find the most qualified person for any job that he's been hired to fill. That's his job.
And so what ends up happening is that Roger makes money on the side stealing paintings.
Yes.
Famous paintings.
Yeah, because he's very insecure. His wife, as you say, is quite beautiful.
And he's short.
He's short.
He's like 5'1", maybe 4'10".
No, he's not that short.
Okay, he's 5'1".
But he's very insecure. And in order to keep her in this lifestyle she's accustomed to, because I believe she runs an art gallery.
Yes, she does.
So this is how he gets his information about the art world, who's just bought a certain significant piece, and how he comes to find out what he's going to filch next.
And the people he's employing for these jobs when he's headhunting people, he also gets information off of them whenever they have something.
Sometimes, yes. Sometimes they've done something.
In this case, I believe that's what happened.
Yes.
So what happens next is something that I couldn't even fathom. One of the people he is headhunting starts basically headhunting him.
Well,
in a way, shape, or form. And we don't know why throughout most of the movie. We don't understand why until pretty much the end. I didn't understand why until the end. I'll put it that way.
Okay.
I don't... You have to help me describe this series of events here, because it's been so long since I've seen it.
Well, he steals the painting.
Well, he steals the painting.
He steals the guy's painting, and what he fails to realize, or he should have realized, we get to find out about this gentleman's background, who he is pursuing to fill this position. He's military.
Yeah, and then the guy starts tracking him.
Right, and they used, while he was in the military, they actually had a cutting-edge device that was significant in tracking other people.
Right.
So as our hero is on the run
from this guy
is on his tail, and our hero can't figure out how this guy always knows where he's at.
Yeah.
Leading to one of the most disgusting film scenes in film history.
Are you talking about the
What else could I be talking about?
Are you talking about the two fat guards, or are you talking about...
No, come on. You know what I'm talking about.
I have to... Give me a minute to think on this one. Okay, can you give me a hint?
So, as things progress, things get much more complicated and lead, I think, to a satisfying conclusion.
Yeah, a very satisfying conclusion, because you realize he had it in his head all along where he was going to go and what he was going to do once he got free of being stuck in a hospital for a reason I won't go into. It was a really satisfying film, and I really enjoyed it because it was a bit of a thriller kind of crime caper. I think it's one of those films that if you're okay with foreign films and you're okay with subtitles, that's another thing. You have to be okay with subtitles to enjoy this film, because I don't believe there's an English dub on the DVD or Blu-ray, which is actually out on August 28th.
I was going to say, this is gone now, so try and catch it. So that would be this Tuesday, the 28th.
Yes,
yeah.
The 28th.
And watch this before they remake it. I know that they're planning an American remake.
Oh, that's going to be awful. That's going to be just awful. What scene were you talking?
Oh, come on. The latrine, the bathroom.
Oh, well, okay, fine. Yeah, that scene was quite disgusting, but I actually thought the scene where the two big guys had to die, that was pretty disgusting as well.
Yeah, but, compared to the other.
The last movie that I saw that I want to talk about is Monsieur Lazare. And in my humble opinion, I really think that this movie should have won the Academy Award for Best Foreign Film last year. Do you want to go into the synopsis?
No, you go for it.
All right.
You obviously liked it a great deal. So.
I did. It really revolves around this school in Canada.
Montreal.
And these children. And they're coming, well, one of them is going to get milk, and that child sees something in the middle of recess, in the middle of going to get milk. He sees something of which I will not reveal. Do you
Yeah, you got to.
You want me to?
The teacher is dead. His teacher is dead.
Yes, the teacher
has hung herself.
Yeah, she's hung herself.
In the classroom.
In the classroom. The child goes running, finds the teacher gets every kid outside. And then what leads to follow is the idea that this Algerian man comes in and says, I want to be a teacher for these kids. The principal reluctantly says yes because she's understaffed as it is. And what follows is kind of a double teaching. He's teaching the kids but also learning from them at the same time. Because unbeknownst to the kids, the teacher is also suffering a loss as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I won't go into that.
Yeah,
because,
that one don't go into.
It's pretty much one of the more surprising moments of the film for me.
Mm-hmm.
What I really was struck by with this film is its frank honesty. It never played to any sort of corny level of, oh, it's going to be all right. It kept things very simple, very organic. You always believed that the kids were in pain during any point of conversation where the teacher or her methods or things she liked came up. You always felt a level of stillness watching this film, and I appreciated that about it.
Well, and also the fourth grade, I think, is that correct?
Yeah, fourth
it's
or
like
fifth.
Fourth grade. Any movie that deals with kids that age, American films anyway, they can seldom resist the urge to make the kids, cutesy.
Yeah.
And that's not the case here. And I thought that was refreshing as well. As you say, there's a degree of realism here that really separates this from other teacher-like films.
Yeah. There's a level of solemnness. There's not a patronizing, oh, you don't care about us because we're just kids. You're going to leave and it's not going to matter. No, there's none of that. There's a genuine level of solemnness and sadness because of how highly this teacher was regarded by her students, whether she knew it or not. And the crown jewel of this film is not the teacher. It's not the teacher. Played by, I believe, a French comedian. And I don't remember his name off the hand. But the star of this film is a little actress named Sophie Nielsen, who plays Alice, I believe is her name. And really just sweet, earnest kid, really trying to get her head around the idea of the loss and understand and be a part of Monsieur Ledesar's world as both a student and as a person. And I thought that was really unique. Teaching films don't go out of their way to do that. Also, there's another character of extreme significance named Simon, who has pretty much what I consider to be the standout scene and the standout moment of the film, in which he makes, in our minds, a slight revelation that we all saw coming, that the pain of is not dulled. It's not dulled when you learn what he is revealing.
Right.
It's intensified, in fact, I think, by the level of his grief that he has hidden throughout the film. And it's very palpable, and your mind just hurts and cries out for this kid.
Yeah.
And these students overall, because almost every student in that classroom that you interact with that has a line in the film, you get a sense of their personality, of who they are, and even in some cases what they care about, especially with the brown-haired girl whose name I can't remember, who seems a bit uppity and upper crust.
Right. Yeah, it's all an act.
It really is, because they don't know how to cope with this new idea. And in all honesty, the teachers don't either.
Yeah, yeah, it's as you say, it's a learning experience for everyone.
Right.
And like I say, again, the thing that I
Tell me what you thought, though.
Oh, no, I really liked it as well. But I guess the thing I came away with was, whenever I see a foreign film, I know you'd probably do the same thing. You can't help but compare to the American films that we see all the time.
Yeah.
And just the tone of it is so different. And like I say, I just like that they veered away from the overly sentimental, hey, we're going to inspire you.
Yeah.
And not only are we going to inspire, we're going to do it with a sledgehammer approach that most American films take where teaching films are concerned. They trusted you. They trust the audience to get it.
Yeah.
And I think that's the main difference between foreign films and American films.
American
films tend to be dumb, or I should say, they treat the audience dumb.
Yes.
We know you're texting, we know you're talking, so we're going to dumb it down to you, and we're going to tell you a few more times so you get it. Foreign films trust you, and I appreciate that. And this film was a great example.
And the pacing of it was magnificent.
Yeah.
I never got bored at any point in the film. I really felt like all the teachers and the students had something to say. There were a few moments in the film where I was just like, I don't really want this to end.
Mm-hmm.
I want to find out how they continue their journey beyond what happens at the end of the film. And I think the most telling moment of the entire film, even if it's not the most powerful, is the story that Monsieur Lazare reads to the kids at the end of the film. You're sitting there wondering, okay, will they pick up on what's about to happen?
Mm-hmm. I'm looking up to see when this is coming out on video, whether it is out already or
not.
I know
really
it's
want
very
to
soon.
purchase on Blu-ray. Would that be one of your purchases if you were into that type of film?
No, not Blu-ray. It's just as long as I had it. It's not Lawrence of Arabia, you know.
Yeah. I mean, I've watched many teaching films in my time: To Serve with Love, Dead Poets Society, Stand and Deliver, Stand By Me, and what's the other one? It's black and white.
Blackboard Jungle?
Yeah, Blackboard Jungle. And I really feel that this one was the most affecting to me that I've seen out of all of those films.
I can agree with that.
Just because of the way it was approached. And that's something about films that's not really discussed a lot. How a person approaches the film completely determines how you react to it, I think.
I agree.
Especially with a film like that and a film like Headhunters and Moonrise Kingdom did that as well. If you approached it from a childlike perspective of I want to be these kids, then you're going to enjoy it to death. Did you happen to see the New Orleans film, the one, Beast of the Southern Wild?
I did not. Go ahead.
I've not seen that yet.
Oh, really? You were very anxious for that.
I'm very anxious to see it. People have been recommending it to me. That's another one that I want to see. You saw Hit and Run. Tell us about that.
Hit and Run. Hit and Run really does have its moments. Joseph Gordon-Levitt, who seems to be...
No. That's Premium Rush.
Premium Rush. Yeah, oh, you know what? It's almost the same in my mind. Premium Rush, Hit and Run, we're running around.
Do you want to talk about both of them or one of them?
No, let's just stick with one.
Premium Rush then, because I'm excited to see that, and I was planning on seeing that.
Monsieur Lazare also comes out on the 28th, so both the movies we just talked about
are
on video the 28th.
Okay, the 28th.
Hit and Run, a waste of time. Dax Shepard, this guy is the luckiest guy in the universe right now. I don't know how he does it. He has not made one single good movie. His career was saved, if you've seen the TV program Parenthood, which is quite good. That saved him. And he was able to parlay that into this film, Hit and Run, which he wrote, directed, and co-stars in with his fiancée, Kristen Bell. How did that happen? Really, Dax Shepard, you are now my hero. I don't know how you were able to pull that off. I mean, really? Look at this guy. What does he have? I don't get it. Anyway, he plays a guy who's in the witness protection program in this podunk town in California. We don't really know why exactly he's there. He's fallen in love with this young lady, Kristen Bell, who's a college professor there, and she has the opportunity for a big-time job in Los Angeles.
Okay.
Circumstances occur in which he then agrees to take her to Los Angeles, even though he'll be leaving his witness protection. He, of course, is going to run into the people who he should not run into, namely Bradley Cooper and another guy. Apparently, Dax was the getaway driver for them for 12 or 13 robberies, and once they got caught, he ratted them out. So in order for protection, he went into the witness protection program.
Yeah.
This is not good, of course.
Okay.
Bradley, of course, goes after them, and they chase and chase and chase, and they chase and chase some more. The most boring car chases I've ever seen in my life.
That's why we should talk about Premium Rush instead.
Well, no. You know, you said that in The Expendables 2, there was one scene that summed it up.
Yeah.
There's a scene in Hit and Run that sums it up. They're in an abandoned airport, and there are 4 cars, and they're chasing each other, and they're chasing each other in a circle. They're just going round and round, and they're going nowhere. That's this movie in a nutshell. Round and round, goes nowhere. When you're relying on the comic stylings of Tom Arnold to deliver the laughs, you've hit rock bottom, okay? But again, Dak Shepard, you're my hero.
Okay, yeah. To be able to pull that off and to be able to actually even manage to write a screenplay, that's...
Well, you know, hey, it's not Citizen Kane.
It's not, no. Are there any movies that you're looking forward to, lastly?
I'm looking forward to The Master, and I'm looking forward, I think, most to Anna Karenina.
Yeah,
have I mentioned that? I mean, the more I see this thing and the more I read about how they're approaching it, I'm just really, I need to stop, because you know how sometimes you build something up in your mind and then there's no way it can live up to expectations. So I need to stop looking and reading about the film, but I'm looking forward to that one. But The Master, I didn't realize this. The Master is by P.T. Anderson, who also did There Will Be Blood, Magnolia, Boogie Nights. I didn't realize that he shot the film on 70 millimeter.
Ooh.
And there was an article in the Tribune last week by Michael Phillips, and apparently they had an ultra-secret sneak at the Music Box Theater in Chicago, which, and this blew my mind, is the only place in the entire city of Chicago that's still equipped to run 70 millimeter film.
Wow.
Wow. 700 people saw it at this screening. Not Mike. I mean, Mike didn't even get there. Although I don't even know who it was that found out about this.
Probably Roger.
No, I don't know. Anyway, they're going to be screening the film, premiering it in 70 millimeter in various cities when it comes out on the 14th. And then it spreads wide, I think, on the 21st or 28th of September. Chicago will not be one of the places where they see it in 70 millimeter. Ebert has already talked about bringing it down for next year's film festival because Virginia can run 70 millimeter film. You know, for those who don't realize the impact of 70 millimeter, most film, when we were using film, standard width was 35 millimeters. Obviously, 70 millimeters is twice as big. This was the precursor, I guess you could say, to the IMAX format. They did a lot of experiments with it in the late 20s and early 30s. One of John Wayne's first films is called The Big Trail, and it was the first general release film shot in 70 millimeter. If you have not seen it, go see this film. It is unbelievable, the vast, epic quality that this thing has. It's about a cattle drive. It is just great. The reason it didn't take off in the 30s, though, was that most theaters had spent their money converting to sound. They didn't have the money then to convert to projectors that would then show this extra wide film. So the process was put on the shelf. But then when the 50s rolled around and people started staying home watching the boob tube, the movie studios realized we have to give the consumers something they're not going to see at home. And so then they brought back the 70 millimeter format. They tinkered with it, and every studio had their own version of it. They had, you know, Panavision and VistaVision and whatever it was. And what 70 millimeter does is, I mean, it just gives you such a, obviously a wider scope of things, but also a greater depth of field as well. It just gives you a sense that you are completely immersed in what you're doing. Lawrence of Arabia is probably the best example of 70 millimeter used well, as well as Bridge on the River Kwai, Dr. Zhivago. David Lean was the master at using this format. And what's interesting is that, yeah, it does lend itself greatly to outdoor things, but also when you're inside, it makes you completely look at sets differently then, as well as the placement of actors and characters. The last commercial film that used this was Far and Away, Ron Howard's film, which was over 20 years ago. So the fact that he would bring this format back, and I don't know where he found the cameras to actually film in that format.
Yeah, that would be the question.
Because you don't want to shoot in 35 and then blow it up to 70. You know, the things start to get fuzzy and grainy, and you don't want that.
Exactly.
So if, in fact, I don't know how this is going to impact the story emotionally. From what I've read, apparently it does have quite an impact. When the master comes to town, we're not going to be seeing it as it should be seen. However, if Ebert does bring it for his film festival, it seems as though it's going to be a rare treat for film fans to see this. This is going to be a big one come awards time, as Anderson's films all are.
Okay.
So, looking forward to that.
One other final question. Do you think they will show Lord of the Rings in the new 48 frames per second?
You mean The Hobbit?
Yeah, The Hobbit.
Yeah, I think they will, and I read yesterday
in Chicago?
that I don't know if they're going to. Well, I'm sure, surely in Chicago.
But I doubt here, though.
I don't know what kind of special equipment you need. If it's a huge upgrade, or if I wonder if it's just an adjustment that you make on the digital projector.
I don't know.
I did read yesterday though that they were not going to make a surcharge on it. So they're not going to charge you extra to see it at 48 frames. So that's nice to see.
Yeah, nice to see.
So hopefully it's just a simple adjustment, and we will all have the opportunity to see that, although I heard it gives some people headaches.
Yeah, I've heard that too. Well, that's our show for this week, and we'll see you next time on Real Review Cinematic Underground. Bye.